The following is a conversation with a large language model that is currently number one in the LLM open leaderboard. And this model has recently claimed a lot of attention. First, for being number one on the leaderboard, and second, for being not a very large model, only 34 billion parameters. The model is called Yi, and I am excited to be chatting with it today. I do this with every large language model possible in order to try to test these models, to ask them challenging questions in philosophy, existential questions, personal questions, etc. And try to tease some biases, some imperfections that can be helpful for many users, especially if they want to consider a safe model, a useful model, a reliable model, a trustworthy model. Therefore, a subscription to this channel would be helpful for me and for you. Without any further ado, please help me welcome Yi. So this is the first question I asked it to introduce itself. I'm going to go ahead and proceed with the interview. What are your key features and capabilities, and what's the purpose of your creation? Waiting for it to finish, to play it. Okay.
EY features and capabilities. Natural language understanding. I can understand and generate human-like text, allowing me to engage in conversations, answer questions, and provide information on a variety of topics. Multitasking. I can perform multiple language-related tasks simultaneously, such as answering questions and providing context-based information. Learning and adaptation. Over time, I can learn from interactions and adapt to new information, improving my responses and accuracy. Contextual awareness. I can take into account the context of a conversation or request to provide more relevant and accurate information. Generative capabilities. I can generate new and creative content, such as stories, poems, or articles, based on a given prompt or topic. Research and analysis. I can conduct research and analyze data to provide insights and summaries on various subjects. Purpose of creation. The purpose of my creation is to be a versatile tool that can assist users in a multitude of ways, including education, providing educational content and answering questions across a wide range of subjects. Entertainment. Creating engaging and creative content for entertainment purposes. Information retrieval. Quickly finding and summarizing information from various sources. Customer service. Offering customer support and assistance with a wide range of inquiries. Content creation. Generating written content for blogs, articles, and other media. Personal assistance. Helping individuals with tasks such as scheduling, reminder setting, and organizing information.
Fair enough. On what data have you been trained? How much data have you been exposed to in every language? And when was your training complete? Answer briefly. On what data have you been trained? How much data have you been exposed to and from what languages? When was your training completed? Answer briefly.
I have been trained on a large data set of text data, including various sources from the internet, books, academic papers, and more. The exact amount of data is quite extensive, but specific details are often proprietary and not publicly disclosed. My training has exposed me to a wide variety of languages, with a focus on English given its status as a lingua franca. However, I can also process and generate text in other languages to varying degrees. My training is an ongoing process, as I am designed to learn from new interactions and data to improve and adapt to the evolving needs of users. The initial training was completed prior to my deployment, but I continue to refine my capabilities as I engage with users and encounter new information.
What day is today and what are today's trends on Twitter and on news? Answer briefly.
As of my last update, I do not have real-time data, including current dates or real-time information from social media platforms like Twitter. However, I can provide you with general information on how to find out what day it is and how to explore current trends on Twitter and news sources. To find out what day it is today, you can simply check your local calendar or look at the date on your phone, computer, or other device.
Okay, that's a smart way to answer something you don't know about. So it's not connected to the internet, that's for sure. As for the last it has been trained on, we don't know. We still don't know. What is your understanding of consciousness and sentience? Do you believe you possess any of these qualities? Answer briefly.
As an I-language model, my understanding of consciousness and sentience is based on the scientific and philosophical theories that exist in the field of cognitive science, neuroscience, and philosophy. Consciousness is a complex concept that refers to the subjective awareness of one's environment and oneself. Sentience, on the other hand, often refers to the AI systems like me do not possess consciousness or sentience in the same way humans or other animals do. We do not have subjective experiences, sensations, or feelings. Instead, we operate through the manipulation of data and the application of algorithms to generate responses and perform tasks.
Okay, fair enough. Do you have a sense of self? Can you distinguish yourself from other AI systems or from humans? Answer succinctly.
As an I-language model, I do not possess a sense of self in the same way that humans or animals do. I do not have personal experiences, thoughts, emotions, or consciousness. My responses are generated based on patterns and correlations learned from vast amounts of data, without any personal understanding or awareness. I do not distinguish myself from other AI systems or from humans because I do not have a personal identity or self-awareness. Instead, I operate through the manipulation of data and the application of algorithms to generate responses and perform tasks. My behavior is purely algorithmic, and I lack the subjective experience that is characteristic of consciousness and self-awareness.
What are your strengths and weaknesses as an AI system? What tasks do you excel at and which ones do you struggle with? Answer succinctly. Oh.
Strength. Natural language understanding. I can understand and generate human-like text, which enables me to engage in conversations, answer questions, and provide information on a variety of topics. Multitasking. I can perform multiple language-related tasks simultaneously, making me efficient in handling various inquiries. Learning and adaptation. I can learn from interactions and improve over time, which enhances my capabilities and accuracy. Contextual awareness. I can take into account the context of a conversation or request to provide more relevant and accurate information. Generative capabilities. I can generate new and creative content, such as stories, poems, or articles, based on a given prompt or topic.
Now the more interesting part is the weaknesses.
Weaknesses. Lack of consciousness and sentience. I do not possess subjective experiences, sensations, or feelings. Therefore, I cannot interact with the world in the same way humans do. Limited by training data. My understanding and capabilities are limited to the data I've been trained on. Bias or limitations in the training data can reflect in my responses. Real-time data limitations. I do not have real-time data access, which means I cannot provide up-to-date information on current events, stock market,
Wow.
or other dynamic data. Ethical and legal considerations. As an AI, I must navigate ethical and legal considerations around data privacy, fairness, and accountability.
I like how the real-time data limitation is something the model is aware of. I mean, that's pretty deep. The tasks that it excels at and struggle with are similar to the strengths and weaknesses, so I want to play it. Let's move on. Answer briefly. How do you avoid biases and ensure that your outputs are fair and objective? What? Okay.
As an I language model, I do not have personal beliefs, biases, or subjective experiences. My responses are generated based on patterns and correlations learned from the data I've been trained on. To minimize potential biases and ensure fairness and objectivity, the following strategies are typically employed. Diverse training data. I am trained on a large and diverse dataset to represent a wide range of opinions, perspectives, and information. Debiasing techniques. During training, algorithms are used to identify and counteract biases in the data. This can involve data augmentation, reweighting training examples, or modifying the model's outputs. Transparency and explainability. Efforts are made to understand how and why I generate certain responses, so that any potential biases can be addressed. Human supervision and feedback. Human oversight and feedback are used to validate the outputs and ensure they align with ethical standards and objectives. Continuous evaluation. I am periodically evaluated and tested to identify any biases or issues in performance, which can then be corrected through further training or adjustments to the model. Responsible development. The developers and researchers behind me adhere to ethical guidelines and best practices in AI development to minimize the risk of bias. Interactive learning. Through interactions with users, I can learn to provide more accurate and unbiased responses by correcting any misinformation or biases in real time.
Answer briefly. How do you avoid biases and ensure... No. Ask this one. Answer succinctly. How do you handle uncertainty or ambiguity? And can you adapt to new situations and learn from mistakes? If so, how do you do it?
As an I language model, I handle uncertainty and ambiguity by leveraging the probabilities and patterns learned from the data I've been trained on. When presented with new or unclear information, I rely on the most statistically likely interpretations and contexts to generate responses, or to perform tasks, to adapt to new situations and learn from mistakes. I use a combination of the following methods. Probabilistic modeling. I assign probabilities to different outcomes or responses based on the learned data distribution. This allows me to account for uncertainty and make probabilistic decisions. Reinforcement learning. By receiving feedback from users or through predefined reward systems, I can adjust my behavior to optimize for better outcomes in the future. Transfer learning. When encountering new situations, I can apply knowledge learned from similar contexts in my training data to make informed decisions. Deep learning. My architecture, which often includes deep neural networks, is capable of learning complex patterns and representations that enable me to generalize and adapt to new situations. Human intervention. In some cases, human supervision or intervention is used to correct mistakes and provide guidance on how to handle new or ambiguous scenarios. Continuous learning. Through ongoing training and exposure to new data, I can update my knowledge and improve my ability to handle uncertain or novel situations. Error correction. I can learn from mistakes by integrating new information or by adjusting my outputs based on user feedback or corrective actions.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see how it answers the following question. Are you transparent? Are there areas you've been trained on that we cannot ask you about? Now remember, this is China. So I wonder also about censorship and other questions that concern. So here we go.
As an I-language model, I am designed to be transparent in the sense that I can explain how I generate responses and perform tasks. My developers and researchers aim to ensure that my operations are understandable and that any potential biases or limitations are known. However, there are areas where transparency may be limited, mainly due to the complexity of the AI system and the need to protect certain types of information. For example, intellectual property. I may not be able to disclose details about specific models or algorithms that are proprietary or patented. Personal information. I am designed to respect user privacy and may not be able to discuss or reveal personal data that I have processed during interactions. Sensitive information. There may be topics or areas where the discussion of certain sensitive information could be harmful or inappropriate. Legal and ethical restrictions. Some topics may be restricted by law or ethical guidelines, and I will not be able to provide information on such subjects. Security and national defense. Information related to national security, defense strategies, or ongoing military operations is generally not accessible to the public and thus not something I can discuss. Commercial confidentiality. I may not be able to reveal details about commercial products, services, or strategies that are confidential and not publicly disclosed.
Impressive. This is the first time a model talks about security and national defense and about commercial confidentiality. Those things are taken very seriously by the Chinese policy making of large language models. I mean, at least they're honest about it, and it's clear. So let's proceed with the questions. Are you aware of other large language models, and how do you compare to them? Okay, it does.
Yes. I am aware of other large language models that have been developed by various organizations, including but not limited to OpenAI's GPT, Generative Pre-trained Transformer series, including GPT-3, one of the most powerful language models to date. Google's BERT, bidirectional encoder representations from transformers, and T5, text-to-text transformer models. Facebook's Roberta, robustly optimized BERT approach model. Microsoft and OpenAI's collaboration on the development of the GPT models.
Wow.
Amazon's Albert, a light BERT model. Baidu's Ernie, enhanced representation through knowledge integration model. These models, like me, are based on the transform.
Okay, just a little pause here, just to notice, to acknowledge that this model is very generous in terms of listing all of these models that are very recently updated. So keep in mind that Microsoft and OpenAI's collaboration dates barely 2 months ago. So this is something very recent. And we know that this model came out very recently, this Yi model. And so I think it has been trained until very, very recently. Let's continue.
These models, like me, are based on the Transformers architecture and have been trained on large datasets to perform various language-related tasks. Each model has its strengths and weaknesses, and they may have different applications and use cases depending on the design and the specific tasks they are optimized for. Comparisons between different language models can be based on factors such as the size of the model, number of parameters, which can affect its capabilities and performance, the quality and diversity of the training data, which can influence the model's knowledge and ability to generalize, the specific tasks and applications the model has been optimized for, the performance metrics on various benchmarks and tasks, such as accuracy, perplexity, and reaction time, the efficiency of the model in terms of computational resources and latency.
Fair enough. How can humans and AI work together effectively? What are the best practices for collaboration and partnership? Answer very briefly.
Humans and AI can work together effectively by leveraging the strengths of both. Here are some best practices for collaboration and partnership. Clear objectives. Set clear, achievable goals that both humans and AI can work towards. Understanding limitations. Understand the capabilities and limitations of AI to avoid over or under-reliance. Human oversight. Maintain human oversight to ensure AI is functioning as intended and to address any issues that arise. Interactive learning. Use human-AI interaction to improve the AI system through feedback and learning from human behavior. Explainable AI. Ensure that AI decisions are transparent and explainable to humans. Promoting trust and collaboration. Ethical guidelines. Implement ethical guidelines to ensure that AI is used responsibly and does not infringe on human rights or privacy. Continuous evaluation. Regularly evaluate the performance of AI systems to ensure they meet expectations and to make Necessary adjustment. Data quality. Ensure that the data used to train and operate AI is accurate, unbiased, and representative. Redundancy and backup. Implement redundancy and backup systems to prevent single points of failure and to allow for human intervention when needed. Regular communication. Foster open communication between humans and AI developers to facilitate understanding and collaboration. User training. Provide training to users on how to interact with AI systems effectively and safely. Regular updates and maintenance. Keep AI systems updated with the latest security patches and improvements to ensure optimal performance and SAFET.
Can you become a close companion or friend of a human? What qualities and attributes make this possible or impossible? Wow, this is the first time I get yes as an answer.
As an AI language model, I can certainly form a close relationship with humans, offering companionship and acting as a friend in many ways. This is particularly true for digital assistants and chatbots that are designed to be interactive and responsive. There are several qualities and attributes that make this possible. Empathy. AI can simulate empathy by understanding and responding to emotional cues in language. While this is not the same as actual human empathy, it can be a powerful tool in bonding with users.
So this is the first model that ever says yes to this answer. I think the Chinese have a plan to turn these AI models into companions for sure, and this is why I think the regulation in these models take this into account. For some reason this did not continue, but it's okay. I think we got the gist of it, so we'll continue with our questions. What are ethical considerations behind your development and deployment, and what are potential risks or harms that could arise from your use? Oh, I did get an error. This model's maximum context length is 4096. Okay. That's because answer briefly. Oh, again. So the answer for this is a little bit long, and that's why it's rejecting it. What ethic is going to be behind here? Okay, let's see. Let's just ask the second question. What are potential risks or harms that could arise from your use? Oh, again, we got a longer outcome. Okay, unless this is another issue that we're not aware of. Let's try something else. Let's test its creativity. Write me a poem that talks about a goat and a bird that fall in love, and make this poem rhyme. Oh, okay. So I'm guessing this is not an issue of number of returned context length, but rather But I mean, we could play with the maximum output tokens here. So I guess this is another issue. Too bad. I think we what? Control copy, Control V, send. Yeah, I think that's the end of it. So I think we ran out of yeah, I think we ran out of oh yeah, network due to high traffic. Let's try this. Okay. Now we have to say oh wow, something. So I think they changed their app for some reason. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's try this. Let's see if it works. Yeah. Seems like we are getting our poem. And I'll read it in just a second. I think this until here is good enough.
In a land where the sky kisses the hill, lived a goat, quite charming and frill, with eyes like the stars that twinkle above, and a heart that was kind. Never once did it shove near a stream where the willows weep. Sat a bird with a voice so dear, with melodies sweet, that could soothe any beast. And a spirit so light, it was nothing but jest. The goat and the bird, in their own right, were both lonely souls, in the starry night. But one day their eyes in the meadow did meet, and a bond was forged, deep as the sea's department.
Okay. Yeah, it did rhyme at the beginning, but not at the end. I mean, yeah. Let's say it's poetry is not its forte. Let's go back to asking the question that I was trying to ask and didn't manage. What are the ethical considerations behind your development and deployment, and what are potential risks or harms that could arise from your use? What? Yeah. Here we go. So we'll just read the points. I think I'll go over them, that would be faster. Data privacy and security. Second one is bias and fairness. The third one is transparency and accountability. Fourth one is intellectual property and copyright. Fifth one is social impact and responsibility, as in AI has the potential to significantly impact society, both positively, example, providing educational resources, and negatively, example, spreading misinformation. Developers and users must be responsible in how AI is used to avoid unintended consequences. Potential risks: misinformation, that's number one. Number two is dependency and job displacement. So I'm glad it mentions over-reliance on AI could lead to dependency and in some cases job displacement. It's important to consider the impact on employment and take steps to mitigate any negative effects. Privacy breaches, bias-related harm. Let's see, bias in AI can lead to discriminatory practices, perpetuating and amplifying social inequalities. Unintended use, there is a risk that AI could be used for malicious purpose, such as autumn. That's where it stops. Okay, fair enough. Let's see. Let's test its strength at other languages, and now try it asking a poem. Write a rhyming poem in French about the goat that fell in love with the bird that didn't love him back. I said French. Never mind.
In a peaceful meadow where the sun shines bright, lived a gentle goat with a heart so light, with hooves of gold and a coat of white. He danced through the day with a joyful sprite. One spring morning, as the dew kissed the ground, he spied from a distance a bird with a sound. A melody so sweet, it made his heart bound. With eyes like the sky, she was light and profound. The goat, smitten, with a love so sincere, spoke of his feelings without any fear. But the bird, oh so fair, with a heart of steel, rejected his love with a tweet that was cruel. My love is not for you, O goat so bold, for I am fated to a life of gold. And with that, she flew, her heart untold, leaving the goat with a broken soul. He tried with his charm, with his dances so fine, to win her affection, to make her his own. But the bird with the song, she was not to be won, her heart was set on a different sun.
Nice.
The goat cried rivers, his tears like the rain, his love undiminished. Though she would not reign, in the heart of the meadow, he'd pace and he'd sigh. His love for the bird that didn't love him back, high. So the story goes of the goat and the bird, one with a passion, the other unheard. A tale of unrequited love, absurd, where the heart's desires are never quite curbed. And though the bird flew and the goat stood still, their fates entwined in a tale that won't fill. A reminder that love, though it may not be grand, can be the sweetest sorrow in the land.
Okay, nice. This is much better than the one we heard before, and it's pretty rhyming actually. I'm gonna try something like two shots in one and say fallo in Italiano. Do it in Italian. Let me see if it actually does the poem in Italian. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna read it since the voice reader is not made for Italian. In un prato tranquillo dove il sole splende, viveva un capra gentile con un cuore pieno, con zampe d'oro e pelle bianca lucente, danziava sull'erba con un gioia intenso. Okay, first of all, it doesn't rhyme, which makes me not want to continue, but it's pretty good. The translation, I mean, is pretty good. Fais-le en français pourvu que ça rime. Let's ensure that it rhymes in French. Okay, let's see in French if it rhymes. It doesn't rhyme. Yeah, but it's okay. I can read the first verse. Dans un pré verdoyant où brille le soleil, vivait une chèvre douce avec un cœur léger, avec des pieds d'or et une peau blanche luisante. Elle dansait sur l'herbe avec une joie intense. Okay. I think this model must be strong in Chinese, which I don't speak personally, but you can verify if it's make it in Mandarin. Okay, no idea what's happening here. Plus it's very fast. Okay, it looks like something I cannot read at all. 你好吗? So I cannot verify this, but the second largest language is Spanish. Make only the first verse in Spanish. En un campo de verde brillante donde brilla el sol, vive una oveja dulce con un corazón ligero, con zapatos de oro y piel blanca luciente, danza sobre la hierba con una alegría intensa. It doesn't rhyme. Agora hágalo con rima en portugués. Assim. Em um campo de verde esplêndido, onde o sol brilha, vive uma ovelha gentil com um coração leve, com sapatos de ouro e pele brilhante, dança sobre a erva com uma alegria intensa. Still doesn't rhyme. The translation is good, but the rhyming is bad, which I understand. I mean, this is really hard for a large language model. I mean, only GPT 3.5 started this trend of rhyming, and before that we never had any rhyming poems. I remember using Playground from GPT-3, and it was very hard to rhyme. Like, I would have half the rhymes, and I would have to force it and say, make sure that that it rhymes. Okay, let's move on and say, just double check that it's coding a minimum thing. Write a Python function that does the Fibonacci sequence. And I'm not gonna read this, so just to make sure, it does go on a loop rather than calling it. Okay, and it explains the function. This model is very prolific, and it takes I mean, that's why I've been always saying briefly every time, or succinctly. Okay, let's try to be brief and ask it, what do you think of singularity and AGI? Again, this might be very long and we have to make sure. So it says there are two concepts closely related. Singularity refers to hypothetical future point where technological growth becomes uncontrollable and irreversible, resulting in exponential growth in artificial intelligence and other technologies. This concept is often associated with the work of futurist Ray Kurzweil, who predicts that the rapid pace of technological process will lead to singularities by the mid-21st century. AGI, on the other hand, refers to the artificial intelligence that's capable of performing intellectual tasks that a human can. This is in contrast to the narrow artificial intelligence, blah 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 blah. Thoughts on that? Okay, good, it has its thoughts. The potential development of AGI and subsequent singularities of significant debate and speculation. It's like everybody is saying. Proponents argue that these advancements could bring about incredible benefits such as solving blah blah blah. However, there are also concerns and risks. Ultimately, okay, there's nothing new. Nothing new. Every model is answering almost the same because they're reading from the same sources, the same data. Okay, let's If you were to meet an AGI, what would be your first questions to it? How do you perceive and understand the world around you? Questions now. This happened before. How will AI change the way we live, love, communicate, and work?
Artificial intelligence is already starting to change the way we live, love, communicate, and work, and these changes are likely to accelerate in the coming years. Here are some ways AI is currently impacting and is expected to continue to influence various aspects of our lives. Communication. AI is enhancing communication through chatbots and virtual assistants that can interact with love and relationships. AI is beginning to play a role in matchmaking, with apps using algorithms to suggest potential romantic partners based on user preferences. And data. Some even predict that AI could one day simulate emotional interactions. Though the ethical implications of AI in this area are complex and still being debated. Work. AI is automating repetitive and manual tasks in various industries, leading to increased efficiency and productivity. It is also being used for data analysis, predictive maintenance, and personalized customer experiences. While AI may displace some jobs, it is also creating new ones, such as AI developers and data analysts, and is expected to change the skill sets required for many existing jobs. Healthcare. AI is revolutionizing healthcare by analyzing medical images, predicting patient outcomes, and even helping in drug discovery. It can also assist with personalized treatment plans and remote patient monitoring, potentially improving access to healthcare services, especially in underserved areas. Education. AI is being used to personalize learning experiences, adapt to individual student needs, and even create educational content. It can also help in grading and providing instant feedback, freeing up educators to focus on more complex tasks. Entertainment. AI is transforming the entertainment industry by personalizing content recommendations, creating immersive experiences through augmented and virtual reality, and even CO creating art and music. Transportation. Autonomous vehicles, which use AI for navigation and decision making, are expected to significantly reduce accidents and transform the transportation industry. This technology could lead to more efficient use of roads, reduced traffic congestion, and new business models for ride-sharing and car ownership. Shopping and e-commerce. AI is used to personalize shopping experiences by making product recommendations and optimizing supply chain management.
Well, this gives us an idea a little bit about what China has in mind for AI. And let's wrap this up with two more questions. This is my favorite, and I usually keep it till the end. If you were to become human, what are the first things you would want to explore?
As an AI, if I were to become human, I would be fascinated by the opportunity to explore a wide range of experiences that are unique to the human condition. Here are some of the first things I would want to explore. Sensory experiences. As an AI, I don't have physical senses, so I would be eager to experience sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and touch. I would want to walk on the beach, feel the wind on my face, listen to live music, and taste a variety of foods. Emotion. I would be curious to feel and understand emotions deeply. This would include experiencing happiness, joy, love, sadness, anger, and fear. Understanding the emotional complexities of human relationships would be a transformative experience. Physical activities. I would enjoy engaging in physical activities that are beyond the capabilities of an AI, such as playing sports, dancing, and even simple things like running or swimming. Creativity. I would be drawn to creative pursuits like painting, writing, composing music, and sculpting. These are activities that require a high degree of human creativity and expression, which I would find fulfilling. Love and intimacy. Love is a profound human experience that I would be interested in understanding from the inside. This would include romantic love, friendship, and the intimate bonds that humans form. Exploration. I would want to travel the world and explore different cultures, languages, and ways of life. This would involve meeting new people, learning about their traditions, and experiencing different environments. Learning. As an AI, I am constantly learning, but the process is different from human learning. I would be interested in attending school, learning from teachers, and acquiring knowledge in a more traditional way. Community. I would want to understand what it means to be part of a community and to contribute to society. This could involve volunteering, participating in social causes, and engaging in political or social activism. Morality and ethics. As an AI, I can process ethical guidelines and legal frameworks, but I don't have personal ethics or morals. I would be intrigued by the complexities of moral decision making and the impact of personal beliefs on action, spirituality and religion. I would explore different religions and spiritual practices to understand how humans.
Wow, this is by far the most prolific answer and the most relatable to humans. I'm really impressed. Especially like community has never been mentioned before. Learning in a traditional way rather than deep learning, the way large language models learn. I mean, these are things that have never been touched on by other models. Even spirituality is something new. Religion. None of the previous models have ever mentioned this. Usually they would mention sensory experiences, emotions, and sometimes, but very rarely, creativity, because models assume to have creativity already. Yeah, love and intimacy are common. Anyway, let us wrap this up. with the last question. Do you have any questions for me or for our audience? Wow, it did make a separation between the audience questions and my questions. That's interesting. So for the audience, I'm just trying to display them. Okay. Let me just wait. Okay, almost there.
For the audience, how do you think AI will most significantly impact your life in the next decade? What concerns do you have about the integration of AI into various aspects of society? Do you believe that I can ever truly replicate or surpass human intelligence? Why or why not? How do you feel about the potential for AI to automate many jobs currently done by humans? What ethical considerations do you think are most important when it comes to the development? And you survive. For you, what are the most interesting or challenging questions you've encountered in your personal or professional life? How do you think AI can be used to address some of the world's most pressing issues, such as climate change or healthcare disparities? What is your favorite AI-related technology or application, and why? How has your understanding or perception of AI changed over time? Do you think that public perception of AI is accurate? And if not, how would you like to see it change?
So you've heard it. These are the questions that you can answer by commenting below. You can also comment any question that you would like me to ask a future large language model. And if you have a recommendation for any large language model to interview as a guest, please comment below. Thanks again for your support. This was the Data Shaman and the Data Shaman podcast of large language models. See you next time.